Hello, and welcome to the Good News from the Corner podcast. I'm Jay, I'm your podcast host, and I'm also the rector at St. John's Episcopal Church in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm glad you found us. I'm glad you're here. Stay tuned for sermons, lectures, and more good news from the corner of Central and Greer.
Something sacred is coming this way. That is how my ancestors would have said it. In the midst of all this turmoil and confusion, we cannot clearly see the path before us. When we feel trapped in a situation we cannot control, then I believe the wise elders of my holy heritage would climb to the high place of the heart, draw the circle of reason and faith around them, and stand to sing their prayers into the open sky of the history to come. They would not shrink into a corner afraid, but rise up to catch the first light of what was coming into being all around them. We are living in a time of emergence. We are the witnesses to a great renewal. The world is full of the fear of birth and change, but that transformation will one day be our blessing. Come to the place where the ancestors are already standing. Come and see. Something sacred is coming this way. It was written by the Right Reverend Stephen Charleston. He was born in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. He's a member of the Cherokee Band. He is an elder in his tribe, an author, and a retired Episcopal bishop of Alaska, where he served from 1991 to 1996, and was the dean of Episcopal Divinity School from 1999 to 2008. Something sacred is coming this way, and this is but the beginning of the birth pangs. We are in labor. These are uncertain times and unknown territory. This is not the first time that our little corners of the world and the world about us has been uncertain and chaotic, maybe even scary to some of us. We are in the process of birthing something new. It's not the first time, nor will it be the last time, that God has made something new out of chaos, uncertainty, and disruption. Think about the wars in the Middle East that are older than recorded history and show no signs of peace coming to that territory. And yet, something new is being birthed there every day. Unstable governments are overturned and then righted, but not before the chaos ensues. Think about Argentina and Venezuela and the Philippines. World military powers such as North Korea, China, the US, Russia are but a push of a button away from nuclear devastation and destruction. And this alone is enough for all of us to be afraid and anxious. And yet, let's stop and ask ourselves, what divine and sacred thing is waiting to be birthed? Something sacred is coming this way. Throughout history, the prophets, sages, and Jesus have told God's people, be not afraid. It can be difficult in times like this. Be not afraid, or some form of this sentiment, is in the Bible over 70 times. Certainly enough for us to pay attention to it and try to obey it. Today is different from yesterday, and it will be different from tomorrow, even though we may follow the exact same routines every day. Get up at the same time, make coffee and drink it at the same time, leave for work at the same time, take the same route to work. Come home, cook dinner, bathe the kids, put them to bed, and yet today will be very different than what you did yesterday, even though you feel like you're doing the same thing. This is but the beginning of the birth pangs. And listen, this is but the beginning. We're on the edge. We're on the precipice. What comes to mind when I read about birth pangs, although I've never given birth, but I imagine the profound struggle and pain and the strength and the force that it takes, sometimes even bordering on violent, but something new is born and something beautiful comes in the end. Our country has just had an election. We're having a change in power and in the balance of power. And as a country, we are facing uncertain times that come with any change in leadership. Questions about our own personal security are hanging out there for some of us. Some of our brothers and sisters will find themselves in new places and different places, maybe social or economic or spiritual surroundings. Changes in locations and jobs, a newfound purpose in life, or maybe even a new identity is waiting to emerge. Walter Brueggemann, a well-known biblical scholar and 20th century theologian, says this: like the ancient prophets, we are dispatched back to the good work entrusted to us. It is the work of peacemaking. It is the work of truth-telling. It is the work of justice-doing. It is good work, but it requires our resolve to stay with it, even in the face of forces to the contrary that are sure to prevail for a season. What is old will pass away, and something new will be birthed. And we're on the verge of something new. We have the power of choice, and we have the power of perspective. Is this a cliff to fall off of into the dark abyss? Or is it a cliff to soar from and to see all of creation at our feet? How many of us have had personal catastrophic events or devastating news? I would venture to guess that 98% of us have experienced some sort of life-changing event. The loss of a job in mid-career, the loss of someone we love, a devastating medical diagnosis. And how does one recover from that sort of news or event? How do I go on? The loss of a job in mid-career can result in finding one's true passion, one's work that they do with all of their heart and soul and joy. The loss of someone we love taught us how vast our capacity for love is. And hopefully we don't squander that. The devastating diagnosis mobilizes us to stand with others who have had similar experiences. We share and heal, we heal in our sharing of our experience, our strength, and our hope. It is only in hindsight that we see something sacred is coming this way. So what's one of the most basic things that we have been taught and we know deep in our souls is true about God? God is always, always making something new. God's work is being the divine midwife. What is God looking to birth in you? Are you willing to face the struggle? Are you willing to sit with the discomfort? Are you willing to see it through to the end, even though there are people that will tell you not to do that? So what is your work? We think our work is the job we go to or the place that cuts a check for us. No, our work is a very special and unique thing that we as individuals add to this world. Every one of us in this room brings a gift to the world that is begging to be shared. Someone needs to hear what you have to gift. Our work is a very special thing. It's our vision, our light, our love. It's what we share with others and the world. It's what we create. It's how we make people feel. That is truly our work. Something sacred is being birthed and is coming this way. Every moment of every day, of every month, of every year, and of every lifetime, God is birthing something new. Think about that. That kind of creation from God is happening right now. In just these few moments, something sacred is coming your way. Coming your way. So we have a couple of special guests at the microphone this morning, but let me quickly welcome any of you who are visiting with us. We're very glad you're here. There is a visitor card in the pew. If you would like to know more about St. John's, we would certainly like to know more about you. You may complete the third page, tear it off and drop it in the offering plate, and then take the rest of this home with you so you have a little bit of information to go by. Jay is out of town this week performing a wedding for a family that are members here. So he will return tomorrow, I think, or Tuesday. It must be tomorrow because Tuesday he will be having surgery on his knee. So please add him to your prayer list for a quick and easy recovery from the meniscus. Just a couple of quick things that are happening in the next couple of weeks. The Angel Tree will begin receiving donations on November the 24th, which is next Sunday. And then we will have a holiday open house for you to bring them back on December the 8th. Watch for more details about that. And then next week we are off. The lectionary class will meet next week. And then the following week we'll do an intergenerational Advent wreath making. So Aaron, our senior warden, is got something to say, and then I believe Scott Adams is coming up as well.
Perfect, thank you. Let me just take a minute to explain, keeping with the theme of change and new things in the work of God, I am wanting to make sure that everybody is aware that we are changing the process for electing our vestry. And this was in the parish bulletin, and I sent an email out, but I just want to take a minute to make sure you hear it from here. And then I'm going to keep office hours in the parish hall every week until our election in January from 10 to 10:30. So if you have questions or want to talk about this process change, I am happy to talk with you about it. But let me just explain a little bit about what the vestry does so that you can understand why this matters. So the purpose of the vestry is to define and articulate the mission of the congregation. We support the mission by word and deed. We ensure effective organization and planning. We ensure adequate resources in leadership and in financial stewardship. We manage those resources effectively. We approve the parochial budget and determine appropriate programs, policies, and procedures have been developed and followed. And the change that we want to make is related to the fact that we have very broad talent in our church, but not everybody who's talented or could serve on the vestry wants to stand for election before the congregation, because we typically have had 8 to 10 people stand and then we select 5. And for the people who weren't selected, that's a really uncomfortable place. And we don't want that to be the reason that somebody who is talented and has so much to contribute decides not to serve on the vestry. So we considered biblical precedent, we considered best practices of other churches, and we came up with a new alternative that we're going to try for this coming year. If the parish hates it, we don't have to keep doing it, but we want to try it for a year. So what we're going to do instead is our nominating committee, which is made up of the outgoing class of vestry, not me, because I'm senior warden, so outgoing class of vestry plus Susan Mays, who was our junior warden. That nominating committee is coming up with a slate of 5 names. And on January 19th, when we hold our annual parish meeting, everybody will vote yay or nay on the slate. You're not going to vote for any individual, you're going to vote for the slate of 5 names. That does not mean that you cannot still nominate somebody. Nominations are accepted by giving the names of people you want to nominate to the nominating committee. If 5 people in the parish say that they want somebody to be nominated, that person is going on the ballot. If we will still take nominations from the floor. If 2 people stand and say, I want to nominate somebody, we will still take nominations from the floor. If we come to the place where we have more than 5 names, we'll take a vote. So we're still going to take a vote if we have more than 5 names. But if the only 5 people on the slate are the 5 that came from the nominating committee, we will vote yay or nay on the slate. We think this is going to be more efficient. We think this is going to get a broader base of people to stand for vestry, and we'll give it a try for the year. Thank you for letting me explain that.
Thank you. And then Scott Adams is going to share some of his stewardship story with us.
Unlike a lot of the people on the stewardship committee who have come to speak, I'm probably the newest member. Not a lifelong member like a lot of people. My wife and I actually, kind of bounced around churches for quite a while as newlyweds, trying to find the right fit. And ended up in a Methodist church. She was Presbyterian, I was Episcopalian, and it was great. And then, COVID hit, a bunch of kids, found ourselves, not going to church very much and just kind of in a rut, and encouraged me some friends, decided to give St. John's a try, and it's, just the first visit, they felt like we've been a member here forever, and it's been a great place for our family to practice our faith and raise our kids in Christ. So when asked to share kind of 2 reasons to give, I thought I'd share kind of 2 reasons. The first one, like everything I spend my money on these days, is my kids. As a parent, it's my responsibility to give my kids the best tools to navigate life and grow into be healthy adults. I'm not really sure of a better teacher of the positive traits like humility, integrity, hard work, compassion than the Bible. And Father Jay and his team have done a great job with all the children's programming here. And every Sunday we get to watch our kids run off and learn a new lesson about Christ, and hopefully they'll begin their journey with Christ as they go through life. And the second reason I give is just for the next family that might be like us, who were in a bit of a rut and didn't, just weren't, couldn't fit for church, and whether it's the daycare here where they can get 45 minutes to worship God, or children's programming that they're going to come to, and that gets them to come, or the crawfish boil, that they realize, hey, this is a good church for me, and they decided that's where they want to grow, worship God here and become part of St. John's. And so All that stuff costs money, though, and that's why I give, and I would encourage you to find your reasons to give as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. For any of you who did not notice, we do have thermometers, and we are about 80% of the way to our $1.5 million goal, which was a very ambitious goal, but one I feel like we can certainly reach without much more effort.
Thanks for tuning in today. You've been listening to the Good News from the Corner podcast. St. John's Episcopal Church is located at the corner of Central and Greer in Memphis, Tennessee. Our parish website is www.stjohnsmemphis.org. You can also catch us on all of the normal social media platforms. You can join us for church at 10:30 on Sunday morning on our St. John's Memphis YouTube channel. Share the Good News podcast with somebody. And remember, you matter to God. Your life is not yours alone. Come see us sometime.